A 7-year-old girl was killed in West Delhi's Paschim Vihar after her throat was slit by Chinese Manjha, which is a glass-coated like kite string. Now, she was sitting in front of her father on a motorcycle. In fact, there have been 2 such cases reported in the national capital in just the last 2 days. Disturbingly, police data shows a nearly 18-fold increase in the number of cases involving the sale and purchase of Chinese Manjha and related deaths in 2012 as compared to 2021. Last year, there were 271 cases that were registered in contrast to just 15 in the previous year. Now, this Manjha menace is something that continues to plague us. We're going to ask questions today on why this menace persists despite the fact that the National Green Tribunal has put a ban on paper on these particular manjas that are being used. These are traditionally imported from China. They're still freely available in the Indian markets, even though they were banned in our country in 2017. Well, these are not just a risk and killer for humans, but also for birds and animals. This is an issue that crops up especially during the kite flying season in India, but in the last 2 days there have been 2 more cases. We have a panel of experts joining us to put this entire story in perspective. We have Ellen Rao, former Deputy Commissioner of the Delhi Police, with us. We have Dr. Manoj Johar. He is a Senior Director and Head of the Department of Plastic Surgery. We also have Nadeem Shahzad, who is a Secretary of Wildlife Rescue. Thank you all very much for being with us in this edition of Left, Right and Centre. Ellen Rao, I want to first come and ask you this question. You know, very simply, this is something that was banned back in 2017, yet is freely available in the market. Have we just completely failed to crack down on this Chinese Manjha?
Yes, this is really shocking that this Chinese, that is the Manjha, which is laced with the, you can say, glass, that is freely available, as you rightly said, that it is not, though it was banned in 2017. In January 2017, government of Delhi issued one notification banning this Manjha using, selling or procuring this type of Manjha because it was causing very serious damage to the general public. Even the death is recently it came to notice. Not only recently, it's all in the past also. So many deaths have been occurred due to this Chinese Manjha. Yes. And after that, in July 2017, there was a notification and the ban by the NGT also, National Green Tribunal. But still, this Manjha is available. That's why this deaths have been occurred. Main reason which I can find out that is this is offence under section 188 of IPC, that is violation of any notification, government notification or any orders of the NGT or the government. So that in that section 188 IPC, there is a very less punishment. The maximum punishment can be 1 year and 1,000 rupees. Right. That is very meager. I think that is very meager punishment, and that the people don't have fear of law. So you are saying that
there has to be more deadly punitive action in order to actually be able to curtail this mess. But you know, just to look,
should be made non-bailable also, yes.
A non-bailable offence perhaps. But just to look at this issue beyond the statistics and beyond the headline, I want to go across to Dr. Johar, because Doctor, you have actually dealt with several such cases on a regular basis. Anecdotally, how have you seen this story play out?
See, every year there's a big hue and cry which comes up around this time in January and around the 15th of August. And we have noticed this trend now for the last almost about 7-8 years. And it is so unfortunate and totally avoidable and preventable form of disease that it is shocking. And the ramifications are so bad for the innocent people. So that's a double calamity here. The people who are actually victims are totally innocent and bystanders. And the kind of injuries or, life-threatening and limb-threatening injuries they have is disproportionate to their, so-called fault. So we have been trying to, we know that probably as coming from the social and preventive medicine, the malady, the root cause of the malady is actually social behavior. And we have been trying to make a hue and cry about this and using the good offices of the media to try and propagate awareness about this problem. But doesn't seem to have been making, too much of a effect on it. And while the problem goes on unabated, everybody is just a bystander, and it becomes a story every year.
So what typically have you seen, Dr. Johar? You've dealt with several of these cases year on year. What do you typically see? People coming in with fatal injuries? Are some of those cases, I mean, do some of those people make it out alive, or, in a majority of cases, it's usually the throat area which is slit quite badly, which is almost fatal. Is that right?
Yeah. Yes, actually it's a threat to the limb as well as life. And we have seen all kind of these injuries, the whole spectrum of these injuries which can happen to it's every incident is a shocking case, and it's it's a heart-wrenching actually problem, because you have young children who have no fault, you have young girls who are yet unmarried or just recently married, and their whole life or their career gets spoiled. We have injuries happening on hands, we have injuries happening on limbs which are debilitating. There are tendon injuries, there are nerve injuries, there are vascular injuries, and you're looking at years of rehabilitation to try and get back to normal. We have had people who have had their throats slit, and fortunately, those who reached us on time, we have been able to save their lives, but just from the brink of death in a few of them. But then please, it also makes sense to understand that for every one case which reaches a tertiary care hospital like ours, there must be at least 10 or 20 others happening which either don't reach us or are probably not that serious. So the problem is tremendous, and it's life-changing for the person who happens, to whom it happens.
Well, absolutely, and like you said, it's disproportionate. I mean, at the end of the day, this is a hobby, it's a sport which people enjoy culturally. It's been in India for so long. Why have we just not been able to take this killer Manjha off the market? But like I said, it has implications, of course, to human health, to human life, but it also affects birds and animals. And let's not ignore that aspect of the story here. Nadeem Shehzad is with us. Nadeem, how does this play out when it comes to birds and animals? What have you seen anecdotally?
I can't hear you. Can you speak a bit louder?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, a bit lower on the volume.
Yes. What have you seen anecdotally when it comes to birds and animals is my question.
We're having a bird hospital with us, and it's every day we receive about 2 to 3 Manjha cases every day, and that is throughout the year. And this kite flying is a 12-month hobby here in Delhi, and at the time of August, when we have Independence Day celebration, the cases goes up to 8 to 9 to 10 cases per day. And this is mainly the wing which get maimed, and most of the birds which get injured because of it, they will never able to fly again. So that even if the small cut by any Manjha, it could be a Chinese Manjha, could be a Desi Manjha also. It maims the bird, and most of them, they are unable to fly ever in their life.
Right. Ellen Rao, if I can come back to you at the moment, you said when we earlier spoke about the fact that there has to be more strict punitive action to those who are selling this Manjha. But what have we really done in order to sort of spread awareness against the use of such Manjha? I mean, do people really who are using this, are people really aware of the fact that A, it's illegal, and B, it's potentially life-threatening? Could you unmute yourself, sir, please?
Yes, Risika. Yes, it is very important to make the public aware about the menace. This is really a menace, and there are so many people, even so many shopkeepers doesn't know about it. That's a ban. This is illegal. Selling, it's illegal. So now I think that after this incident, the Delhi police has instructed all the deputy commissioners in district, in Delhi particularly, because this menace will be coming in this month. Coming month is before Independence Day. There are a lot of cat flying. Yes. So this is the real time when these people should be made more aware with this. And I think you have taken a very good issue today on this debate, that the people must be, if they are seeing that, they must be aware of it, and they should also spread the awareness that this is very dangerous type of, you can say it's a weapon, I can say, because the thing which can cause a death or to a very serious limb injury to anyone, that can be termed as a weapon. So this weapon should be definitely, that should not be allowed to be used by anyone, and the police is definitely searching for so many places, and they are making warnings.
Again, I just want to point out, I just want to point out a very simple statistic, and this is something that, I spoke about in my introduction as well, that there has been an 18-fold increase in the number of cases involving the sale and purchase of this Chinese Manjha and related deaths in 2022 compared to 2021, and we have this statistic available despite the fact that this was banned back in 2017. I mean, it's absolutely shocking to see the reality of this and the way it's playing out, Mr. Rao.
Yes, that is because this is the situation is definitely alarming and very dangerous for us, because the people are not adhering to the instructions and adhering to the law enforcing agencies, and that's why the police has taking action. That's why this increase in these cases definitely is over the last year. Right. Now the main question is the public should be more aware, and there should be more conscious about it.
Dr. Johar, do you want to come in here as someone who's dealt with these cases? I mean, of course, word of mouth, people who've seen these incidents happen, or, people who've dealt with such cases, or people who've had such cases in their mohallas or localities. I mean, that word of mouth is just one way. But what can actually be done tangibly to A, raise awareness, and B, take these manjas off the market?
See, calling it a Chinese Manjha is actually now a misnomer, because the imports probably were banned, have stopped a long time ago. Now what is available is a local adaptation of a monofilament nylon fiber, and the use of this fiber is to gain a competitive edge in kite flying.
Right.
So it's locally available, and it's anybody can take it and buy it off the shelf and do a little modification of that and use it for the purpose. So it's not. And since it's a very rampant and a very prevalent practice, policing is just a limited amount what it can do. Yes, sale and purchase can be controlled. However, there should be more punitive punishments available. And what has to probably happen is to create a large amount of civic awareness and social awareness, and highlight to the people that this is a very, very bad social practice. I think the scale of creating public awareness should be the same as like for the sale of tobacco and cancer awareness, or in case of firecrackers. So along with doing legislation, along with policing and punishment and creating social awareness, however, I think the government has to start thinking in terms of making certain designated spaces available for the sport, which are safe for both the humans as well as the lifestyle, rather than everybody being able to do it from everywhere. So if you have these designated spaces which are open, and possibly maybe that can add. So while people get a chance to practice the sport, it's still safe for the other people, and chances of accidents come down. So I think it's going to be a multifactorial approach.
Nadeem Shehzad, do you agree with that? I mean, does that solve the problem in a certain sense? A, of course, there has to be awareness at multiple levels, and B, if there are actually designated spaces where this activity can take place, which is not necessarily in localities or mohallas, do you think that would help? You're on mute, Nadeem Shehzad.
I do not think that keeping some designated spots for flying kite will solve this problem, because the birds, they fly everywhere.
Right.
And if you take people outside from their mohallas and colonies into like a river bank, where a lot of people fly kites in Delhi, and this is a big problem for the birds who live by the banks, and mainly that's water birds and a lot of birds.
Right.
There's a very good wildlife around the banks and open spaces, which is away from human settlements, and that will be more riskier for birds.
So what solution may work in the human context may not necessarily work for birds and animals. It's a complex issue, but one that we've hoped will at least do a little bit in raising awareness as far as we're concerned. If you've been watching this broadcast, this is something that you must check before you buy any kind of a manjha to fly kites. You must check that it isn't this killer one that is clearly, despite the ban still being circulated in different parts of the country. Thank you all very much for joining us on this issue.
Thank you,
we
Rishima.
sincerely hope that this broadcast helps to raise awareness on what is clearly a very big issue. Thanks.